Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Marianne and I live here in Canada with my husband and kids ages 5 and 6. I make videos on simplifying life through easy organization. And in today's video, I am sharing some super simple tips, ideas for organizing your home for kids. These ideas are really simple kind of systems that we have used and created in our house for life with our 2 kids, and they have worked really well for us, super functional, super helpful. So I wanted to share these ideas, these tips with you guys in case they help you and your family. So let's get started. Okay, tip number 1, we are starting here in our kitchen, and I'm gonna show you how we store all of our kids' bowls and cups and cutlery and all that sort of thing. So when we started to have kids, we were kind of bombarded with first bottles, and then we had little tiny plates and little tiny bowls and little tiny snack cups, and it was a lot. So a couple years ago, I realized we definitely needed a specific kind of designated spot for all of our kids' plastic kitchenware, I guess if you'd say, what they eat out of. So we decided to put everything in one big bin, and this is just in the kitchen. This is what I call the kids bin. So it has all of their, these are the little inserts we put in their lunches, anything basically that's not breakable. So anything that we could toss in here that they can access really easily. So what I love about this is, number 1, it's just a big bin. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be organized. We just toss things in there. We tossed in all their little bowls, all the lids. They were gifted a huge pack of straws, I think from my mom a year ago, and we're still using them up. But they do like them. So again, this is a perfect spot for all those kind of kid related items. Another thing that I love about this system is that the kids can reach it. So I've, again, put it in a super light bin that they can pick up. I've put it super low in a low cupboard that they can reach. And we aren't really into actual chores yet. They don't have specific responsibilities or anything. However, the odd time, you know how they go through phases, and sometimes they go through phases where they really want to help out. This is perfect. Okay, grab your spoon, grab your fork, set the table, put out snack for everybody, that kind of thing. And this creates kind of that little bit more independence for them, where they can reach everything and get things ready for themselves. So I chose a bin just because that's what worked in our space. I also like it because in these kind of cupboards, they're kind of deep, and they often, if you just put things loose, they will get lost in there or things will get buried. Having the bin kind of makes it basically like a little drawer. You could use a drawer. If you have drawers, that would be something that would work really well too. Or any little specific spot where the kids can reach and you can toss stuff without having to make it look perfect. So for tip number 2, I am here in our main floor bathroom. Now this, I would say, is probably the most basic, simple tip that I'm sharing today, but I found it to be so helpful. I still find it helpful today, but especially when the kids were toddler, 2, 3, 4, I found this to be super helpful, and that is just to keep a spare toothbrush and toothpaste for the kids in our main floor. So this is going to depend on, the setup of your house and the layout, but for our house, we have a bunch of different levels. It's sort of a split level side split scenario happening, but there's a lot of stairs. And there's a lot of stairs for me, but when you are 2 or 3 years old, that is a lot of stairs, especially in the morning routine when we're trying to get out of the house in a decent amount of time. I found that having to go back up after the kids ate to brush their teeth was so time consuming, so painful, and just not worth my time. So really early on, we decided to put a toothbrush for each of the kids on this main floor, which is super close to the door we leave. This is one of those tips where the focus is during these really busy times of the day, get ready for the morning and out of the house as smooth as possible. As we all know, it can be a super chaotic time. So anything I could think of that would streamline that process, I found super helpful, again, especially early on. Because really, after I get the kids, we get our beds made, we get dressed for the day, and then when we come downstairs for breakfast, we really do not go back up there. I've sort of in my mind, that area of the house is kind of closed until we're all back in the evening. It's kind of like it's one area that I no longer have to manage in the morning. We're now moved on to the kitchen for breakfast and just getting out the house. So again, super simple, but I love, love, love this tip. And especially when they were little, this was so helpful. Okay, tip number 3 is, I would say probably, I don't know if it's the most important, but I would say the most impactful for us, or what I found has been the best way to stay organized with the kids, especially in the morning routine. I guess I would call this tip is our daily basket or daily bin. It is a basket that consists of the items that we need every single day to get in and out of the house. And specifically, only one of those items per person. So this is a basket that sits right by the main door. So this is the door that it technically goes into our garage, but it's our main entrance that we use every single day. And so to have a basket right near there where we can grab everything that we need as we're leaving the house, and it's kind of like our outdoor accessories. So this will differ season to season, but an example of things that we have in it right now is that I have, there is a hat for both Scott and I. The kids are at school right now, so they both have their hats on right now, but we have a sun hat, a baseball hat for each person. I have sunscreen for the kids. I keep one of that at the door, so as we're leaving, as we're getting ready, I just spray them or get the sunscreen on and we're good to go. A pair of sunglasses for each kid. I keep a pair of shoes for each of them in this basket. Annie Rose chose to wear her sandals to school today, so her runners are still left in here, and Leo's usually staying here, but he has his on for school today. So in the winter, we would have one pair of mitts or gloves per person. We would have one toque per person. We might have a scarf for each of the kids. And this obviously changes depending on their ages and their phases and all that kind of stuff. But this is what we have that we need as we're running out the door. For me, the biggest thing that makes this kind of function and work really well for us is that we only have one item per person in here. So I find, especially when they were little, again, they would want to, if they had, say, 3 sets of mitts that they could access, well, then you're taking all this time to decide which type of mitt to wear, which one do they want to wear. Oh, this one's bugging them, this one's that. And so just trying to, again, streamline those morning routines is having them only be able to see and access one pair of gloves and one toque. So there's no decisions to be made. They just put it on and leave. Obviously, we have more than one item for each person. I store that in baskets in our hall closet, which is near our front door. And then in a pinch, if all of a sudden, their mitt has a hole through it, we put those ones aside and I can easily grab a new one from the hall closet. Okay, I am upstairs. I'm now in our upstairs bathroom. This is our main full bath that has our shower and everything. This next tip has to do with actually the evening routine, so specifically our bedtime routine. As you'll probably notice, most of my tips have to do with these kind of morning and evening routines because, as you know, as a parent, those are the times of the day where things can get out of hand super quickly and get super chaotic. And it's so easy for everybody to get extra stressed, extra annoyed. Everybody's tired. It is the hardest parts of the day. And I totally get that. So over the past 6 years of parenting, I have done everything in my power to make those parts of the day as stress-free as possible. This is actually something I've only added in the last few months. I actually wish I had done this way sooner. I wish I'd done it 6 years ago. I found that a big part of reducing stress at bedtime is kind of reducing the amount of back and forth and just reducing the amount of steps I have to take or the kids have to take and the decisions that have to be made. And one of the things I found was that that when they went to get their pajamas out of their drawers, where, you know, I store 2 or 3 pairs per kid, just to have as backup, they would be constantly changing which ones they want to wear. They, I could never remember which ones were dirty, which ones were clean. They were, you know, taking 10 minutes to decide which pajamas to wear. They would want to change their pajamas after they had their pajamas on, which is just typical kid stuff. However, I decided, you know what, let's put one pair of pajamas, the one that is kind of like their current pair in rotation, and put that in a little basket and put it in our bathroom. So I had this cupboard, this shelf that was virtually empty in our bathroom, and I found this basket, which was kind of a great size. It fits really well in there, and it fits 2 pairs of little pajamas, and I put those in there and slid it in here, and now they know that as they're getting ready for bed, if they're getting out of the tub or finishing brushing their teeth, they're just going to open this cupboard, grab their basket, grab their jammies, and put them on, and they're set for bed. Okay, so for my last tip for today, we are back in our kind of living space. And this tip relates to sort of our arts and crafts supplies situation. So some of you may have seen that I did recently a whole video specifically about, we kind of redid this arts and crafts storage area. I'm super happy with how it turned out. And since then, I mean, that was, I don't know, a couple months ago, and it's been so good. But I also know for some people, this is like overwhelming. This is like too much. Like, I just want it super simple, and you want to keep it like a little more basic. And so my biggest tip is to have 2 things. You need to have a bin for what I just call as our paper bin or our paper bucket. So all it is you could use anything. You can use a garbage can. You could use a basket you already have. You can use a bin from the dollar store. It can be anything, but just one specific area where you have all your paper. Because I have found that 99% of what the kids actually want to do is write, draw, or color. So it's really all they need is paper and a bunch of markers, and they're set. And I also find that paper is one of those things that can get out of control really easily, because if your kids are like mine, paper comes in out of everywhere. So, you know, so there's some that is just some random white paper that they probably got off of the computer printer, which is great. I'm happy with that. But we'll constantly have little activity books. They're usually free ones that have come in from who knows what, probably like a kid's activity we went to. Almost every single time we go to the library, Annie Rose brings home a coloring sheet, which I am happy with, I'm fine with. And I want to encourage them to color and to draw and to be creative. In order to do that, it's been so much easier that they can do it independently, completely independently. They don't need me for anything. They know where the paper is. They know that if they've got an activity book, they know exactly where they can find it, and they know exactly where the markers are. And then all I have to do is wait until it is overflowing, and then I just recycle a bunch of papers. And it really almost looks after itself completely. It's super low maintenance, and but it makes it so that it's manageable for kids and for yourself. So just like the paper bin, we have a spot for our markers and crayons, which for us is this little caddy, which we thrifted, and I love it. I adore it. I like the look of it. So when it's like out on the dining room table, I actually think it's super cute, so I don't mind at all. But really anything, you have a bucket of them. You can use a cleaning caddy, like a plastic cleaning caddy that you can get at the dollar store. You can use anything for crayons, markers, pencils, that kind of thing. Having something that is sort of kid friendly that they can grab, that they can open themselves if there's a lid on it. Or if you're at the earlier stages and you don't want to, if they're really little and you don't want them to have access, then you simply have this exact thing and you just put it in. Make sure you store this in a area where they can't reach, or there's a lid that they can't open themselves. So if you're overwhelmed with arts and craft supplies, my tip is to just make a paper bin, make a spot for your pencils and markers, burn the rest. Just joking. But really, I found that with our kids, they just like the simplest things, and that is what they use the most. And as long as that's organized, they'll have a ball. All right, everyone, that's it for today's video. I hope that gave you some ideas and inspiration for keeping things organized and simple with kids. Remember that you don't have to follow my ideas exactly, but maybe even use these ideas and tweak them to work for your family and your home. Remember that the easiest way to stay organized with kids is to have less stuff. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.